Hey everybody, it's Mark Zweig, and I'm back here with my buddy Eric Howerton.
What's up?
And Sy Kirby.
Hello.
How do you spell Sy?
S-Y, buddy. Put that Y on the end to make sure there's no extra letters past it.
That's right.
That's right.
Sy has a earthwork and company by the name of Sy Con. I tried telling him I would have gone with Psycho, but he didn't seem to approve of that.
We'll ask the marketing man. Which one was...
They wouldn't forget the name, Sy. Okay?
Psycho.
We got to get Psycho.
I mean, you're not
He's
wrong.
gonna friggin'
Y'all know who you need for your
Psycho.
excavation work? Psycho.
So,
Gotta get Psycho.
quick story on the name. My grandfather commercial fished in Newfoundland all of my life, my uncles, etc. But he would come home to Toronto and spend all summer working construction. He's the only person in my entire family. Well, when I was a 5-6-year-old kid, I would push my little dozers around the floor and whatnot. He'd pick them up and write Sy-Con on them. I still have some of them.
Isn't it
That's cool.
That's where the name actually came from and established from.
That's
with
so
my grandfather.
cool.
And so his union card and his picture was in my first Mini X until it completely sun faded out. So he's looking down for
That's
sure.
cool, man.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if you to bring that car to podcast one time. I mean,
Bet.
you still got that thing?
Oh, I have several.
That's all.
I was
That's
a little
awesome.
obsessed.
Well, hey, though, we have to properly introduce the show.
Yeah.
Okay?
Apologies.
This is another episode of Big Talk About Small Business.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you guys so much for having me. Seriously.
You got it, man.
Thanks for coming. Eric's told me that you've been great to work with on his project that was all jacked up. So I'm glad
The man knows.
somebody fixed the thing.
Just want somebody.
The man
For the
knows.
love of God. Don't try to retire on my own project, please. I worked really hard for over a decade just to be able to invest.
Do this project.
Yeah. I'm with you, sir.
To just have it all taken away.
I know. That's what happens.
And then
Happens to all of
complete
us
the
in this.
job. And let's figure out a good timeline. And if things adjust, let me know. Give me a
communication?
call. Communicate.
Whoa.
Your expectations are way too high.
In my industry, communication is so lacking. But to that point, I mean, look at who you have in my industry, leading our industry. Normally, you've got a boomer from 55 to that 70 range, either handing it off.
Yes.
You don't have many mid-30s, really 30-year-olds that have established it themselves, trying to figure out
That's true.
their way in this industry. Number one, they're not very accustomed to change.
Yeah.
They've already made their money through whatever era, decade, etc. So why are we going to try and change the game? They're so used to it.
Yeah.
They made the game. So now you've got somebody like myself trying to keep looking at these problems that a young business owner would run into in a very capital overhead heavy industry. How do you compete, right? And get to where they are through this system that you're speaking of is terribly established from the get-go. Like you mentioned, Mark, design. And that's literally why I've ventured off into this podcast realm, is to hopefully sit down at a table with gentlemen like yourself and Eric and discuss how crappy it is right now.
But see, the good thing,
I mean, honest to God.
no, sorry, you're right. But the good news is, it gives you somebody like you a chance to distinguish yourself very quickly.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do, sir.
Because they are so stuck in the past and do things the same way, and are poor communicators, poor business people, poor billers, poor collectors, poor at doing contracts, poor at all of it.
Poor at innovating with the technology changes.
Oh, technology is risk, man. You don't want to do anything new.
That's right.
Okay?
Yep. You don't
It's
want it to
all
be
about
exposed,
risk.
so that way you can pad things, you can add margins. It's all underground.
So, to that point, the GPS realm, like I was just referencing, they don't want to be adaptive to that change because they know how to do it old school, right? What am I facing? Well, I either have to go get those guys that have been doing it 30, 40 years and adapt to their system,
Right.
or I slash labor, figure out how to run this GPS system, be the master at it. Not the master at it yet, but we are learning. We've invested very hard into it, but I have the people and the team and the average age.
Different thought process.
Exactly. Average age at Cyclone's 31.
Yeah.
Out of 22 on staff right now.
Wow.
So we've got a young bunch of guys with like-minded, innovative mindsets.
You know, I think another thing, too, that I've experienced in that industry is the lack of desire to grow.
Yes.
Right? Which is just a stalemate of problems.
No question about it.
We've talked about this common thread. If you're in business, you either grow or die. That statement is very true.
The management model, as you said, is the baby boomer like me. Maybe got a son who's probably he's an idiot, okay, but a functional idiot. Got a drug problem, alcohol problem. You know, my wife left me. They repoed my Monte Carlo SS and my
This is my guy.
okay.
I think you love Mr. Swat.
And then everybody else is like a high school dropout that takes orders from them, okay? And sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't.
Experience.
And so that's the model, and they don't want to grow it because there's a limit to when you don't have anybody who's really very intelligent out there working for you, you can't grow.
Yeah.
You know, it's only what you can do personally and direct people to do. And the span of control goes, it's pretty small. So,
the unfortunate thing is that the customer base has changed.
Yeah.
Especially in like an area like ours, right? Like we're 30 years ago.
We're getting more sophisticated.
Totally.
And the needs are different and the projects are bigger. And,
my expectations of communication is different. My expectations of planning.
True.
I mean, everybody that's in our area are typically professional
White collar.
White collar folks, right? And they're the ones investing in these expensive projects, which helps your industry, right?
Of course.
But then you hit this bottleneck and it just becomes, if you don't have a scalable growing business model and you're not going for that, what you're doing then is you're just trying to monetize on lower quantity. And then and if everybody does that, you have this disastrous freaking macroeconomic scenario like we have right now, where no one can scale their shit and no one wants to grow, but everybody's trying to retire.
Yeah.
I have one job sometimes.
What a freaking job, man.
That's the thing.
It's
man, driveway should not cost $250 million freaking dollars.
I know.
And concrete is not that expensive.
Yeah,
well,
it's high, but it's not that high.
Everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute. You said something about concrete. Hold on now.
8 years, and the 8 years, so 9
From
years
$70 a yard.
to 240.
Why can't that change, though?
It can, but you don't want to even follow the money in the supply game of concrete. You're talking global, sir. There's 3 players in this country that control that game, and that is a very, very expensive game.
We've got projects like the Walmart, complex that basically sucked up all the concrete.
You're not lying.
So it killed it for these guys. I mean,
It's hard.
You got to be, it's like we're only taking orders at 6 a.m. on Wednesday, and by 6:20 we're done. Okay, isn't that the truth?
Yes, sir.
For the next week.
You guys are both spot on, and to your point of growing and not dying. So I've doubled my gross revenue for the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Annually, every year.
Yes, sir. Now, of course, now we're in the millions. The plan was for me to grow again this year. But with the macroeconomics and everything that we have going on, people are very wary.
Yeah.
I think the system has designed it. I've mentioned this to Eric a lot of times. Say, if you could get with somebody that you trust as an installer that held weight to the design conversation and could help you save money from his eyeballs,
of course,
why would you not want to do that?
Absolutely, and that's a huge problem always.
Exactly.
The designers aren't builders. They don't get out in the field enough. Some of these guys never even set foot on the site that they've designed, and that's a problem.
And,
you want the contractor involvement, I believe.
And so...
But that means you got to select a contractor to work with and not hard dollar bid it.
Exactly. And
what the hell did that mean?
What that means is, normally the way it works is the architects and engineers prepare a set of plans and specs.
Yeah.
So everybody's got the same thing, and they put that out to bid for contractors, hard dollar bid it. But you don't have to work like that, okay? Mm-hmm. You can just have a negotiated deal where you work with somebody you trust. and you select the contractor immediately, and then the engineer and the contractor work together.
And it has saved you money in the past, has it not?
I've always liked that model better. I'm not a model. Once you go to low bid,
honestly, you're
not the way
only
to get what you want usually.
End scheme of things, unless you have some 10%, 15% contingency on this project, it's probably going to get ate up anyways because you went the low bid route and didn't speak with the guy. Because a lot of times when I figured this out in the commercial game, I was trying to bid it to where I already knew what was going to transpire. But that's not what was on the prints. Mm-hmm. The prints were low budget, value engineered to beyond belief. Mm-hmm. So we get this low cut number. Well, then the installer, after he deals with the general contractor that hard bid it for the ownership group, then I'm down as the installer now communicating with this general contractor who has no idea about the civil game. They've got some yahoo right out of college that's trying to understand, and then he's going to make up some verbiage to sound smart and most likely sound pretty ignorant to the ownership group and cause resentment to the installer. And so that's the exact hiccup in the system that we're going to change.
Or the other model is, of course, people knowingly low bid it, figuring the plans aren't good and will change order them to death.
Yes.
Okay, because
still happens.
That's another model that some contractors and subcontractors use, as you well know. But anyway, it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, the whole construction business is just, it's an ugly business, and it need not be so ugly. Mm-hmm. That's what I believe. But as you said it, you've got to have people you trust, and the general trust of the public for contractors and subcontractors is low.
Yep.
Unfortunately. Yep. I mean, they just assume that you're bad.
Yep. Actually, it's
true. Like as a consumer,
right?
I'm scared to death of the subcontractors not showing up. I mean, it's just like immediately it causes anxiety throughout a whole project.
It absolutely does, and it's all about your network.
Yeah,
really. Do good by people, and you'll have the good ones stand by you through the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to be a repeat buyer of these services, because the one-off client's not really what they all want. And then you can have that trust, hopefully.
That's right.
And you got to be a quick payer. Okay, that's the other way to get guys like Sy over there to perform.
That's right. He is the man. So, and it's funny you say that. And below me, so let's talk about below me. I have a concrete subcontractor who is really, really good.
Yeah,
manholes and junction box, but he is really, really expensive. And as everything is dropping,
that's only one element.
Exactly. But how do we keep him repeat customer for SyCon, keeping up with my crews? Well, I got to pay that dude in 30 to 45 days, and it don't matter if I get paid or not. I have got to keep him surviving. But you know how hard that is when that GC is holding out for 90 days because the ownership's holding interest for 60 or whatever the parameters they had set up before we even got hard bid and involved. So I've got to, and there's that cash flow. Well, in my world, you want to know why we can't grow? Because there's these, you get to that 750 milli mark, you've got, a crew of guys, you got maybe an excavator or so, but if you want to grow past that, you can't just, we're going to add an extra this piece and add this much revenue. It's a jump. You've got to procure safety equipment as you dig deeper, et cetera, like we were talking. So I think the growth with the area, I mean, of course, the work is here, but the growth can be capped very quickly by capital and the overhead expense that we have to run. Yes, don't get me wrong. You can rent and lease everything in my industry, but it's just a complete write-off, and you're not adding diddly nothing to your balance sheet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you manage a cash flow problem like that, Mark? I mean, you'd be a perfect person to like. I mean, is it just what it is?
You got to do the dance, is what we call it. But I mean, you got to work with the right general contractors. You got to have ones that are running their business well, so they're billing and collecting on time. So, like when we were general contractors, I would say to a client every time when I start the job and at the contract, we get paid every week. Okay. That doesn't mean like we get paid this week and then next week you're on vacation and we don't get paid and then you come back. Every single Friday, you're going to get a bill, and I expect to get paid because all these people out here have to get paid.
So
we're not going to finance your project.
You as
owner.
the GC are telling the owner,
yes,
I'm going to send you an invoice every week, and you need to pay it immediately.
There's no, I'm not going to carry you for a week.
I like that.
That is a great GC.
Okay, and then my subs, I want to pay you as like immediately.
He's going to have the best subs in town.
Because that's the way I get you to jump.
Yep.
Okay? When I got a problem and I call that sub and go, holy cow, I got a really big problem here. Help me out.
And what do they do?
Then they help.
You bet you.
We just moved. Eric knows. We just did a renovation in 7 or 8 weeks of a house in Fayetteville on Mount Sequoia.
That's a freaking mansion. It's an estate. Don't let them.
It's a crazy house. It's not a mansion by any means. But anyway,
His description of mansion's
people
different.
were amazed that we could get done what we got done in the time we had.
Mm-hmm.
But it was planning. It's telling everybody on this day, I'm going to need you to show up, okay? And then they give me a bill and I write them a check. Done.
Yep.
Or they send me an electronic bill and I send them an electronic payment immediately.
Yep.
Just paid. My electrician sent me a bill this morning, was paid 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the way you have to deal with it. But anyway.
What I like about that weekly, though, as an owner, it helps me to see the progress.
Right, of course.
Versus, I've had this other project going, which you visited yesterday. I get just this surprise, huge bills with 50 freaking invoices attached to it and receipts of stuff. And I mean, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But then it goes back.
And then they want to get paid immediately. And I'm like, I can't even go through
I
this.
need 150,000 cash today or whatever.
Like, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I need my house done.
Right. I get it. But the thing, but back on Sy's case, so, he's got to deal with good GCs who are managing their businesses effectively. That's a big part of it. And then he's got to be fast at billing himself, and he's got to be following up with people if they don't pay. He can't be afraid to call and say, hey, I need to get, or send a text and then send an email and then send a call. I mean,
Miss Shea in my
consistent.
office is, hey, I didn't see anything. Did we receive this? Yes or no? I didn't see the red receipt. And they are, now in Eric's case, in the NC, not just working with good GCs. I'm not going to lie to you, Mark. I'm trying to go around them GCs and go directly to the owner.
Right, I understand. You should.
Anything out in the civil,
absolutely.
Hey, pick whoever you want to build your tin can. I don't care how big it is, building, whatever. Let me handle everything in the civil. I can mitigate.
You're a site contractor. Everything. Hardscape.
Sewer.
Right.
I'll do retaining walls, storm sewer, retention, underground detention. So let me get it to binders. Then have these guys come in. They're not fighting mud. You're not going to have to worry about sky tracks getting stuck, trying to get lumber.
Or one guy screwing up the last guy's work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mitigate damages for the ownership through the entire thing. There's different ways to combat this.
Yeah.
But it's not the system.
Yeah.
Right?
And back on your sort of archetypal old fart, his son is, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Those guys, as you said, they're used to doing things a certain way. They have absolutely no means of marketing. So they're totally dependent on the GCs because they don't do any marketing of any kind whatsoever. That's part of the problem. I mean, they don't even do any
branding.
Excuse me. There's no branding. They don't
even have a logo.
Visibility. Their trucks don't match. They got no signs on any of them. All their pickups look different.
Right.
Everything they've got, and nobody's got a company shirt on. They don't even do
Drives me crazy.
Simple working visibility type stuff. So there's no marketing, which then makes them dependent on a GC.
100%. And that is probably 70% of subcontractors out there.
Yeah,
so would you advise that, subcontractors, if they all kind of started changing and evolving into more business-centric with branding, marketing, it would behoove the industry if they were doing that?
Well, it's certainly going to help them.
Yeah, because it's going to get them into different conversations.
Yeah.
It's going to get them to that ownership level. Hey, you did me a really great job on that tile on this job right here across the road. I've got this special little thing I need you to kind of take care of for me. You go over there. That's your little test. You knock it out. That's his tile guy the rest of his life, and he's going to hand it to everybody he knows.
Exactly.
And it's just because he had Martin's tile on the side of his truck, And then it showed up and it was the same truck.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, and it was the same gentleman or the same crew that he saw working over there on his ownership walkthrough. That's exactly how you break into that mold and you get in.
Don't a lot of GCs want to keep them under the radar, though? Is that kind of part of their business plan?
No,
or is
not
it
anymore.
It's not?
It used to be. GCs used to have all the work, but it's the market is evolving. It is every single day. You've got ambassadors trying to change the market. You've got guys wanting to stay in the market, but and keep it the same way. You know what I mean? But the subcontractors, to your point, Mark, if they would just do just a little bit. Just a little bit of branding.
It's not that hard.
I tried to keep all my trucks white with Sycon on the side, USDOT. They may not all be Fords or Chevys or whatever, but we've got a look. You know what I mean?
Now, next time I want you to paint them yellow like that.
Okay.
No, you think I'm kidding because everybody's got a white truck. I mean,
You're
I'm
not
not being
lying.
critical, but I did this with an environmental consulting firm years ago, and I made them paint all their trucks purple. 2 years later, the CEO called me and said that was the best thing we've ever done.
It's crazy. And
We
it's
have
true.
so much business because of that.
And in your business, what's great is like you
That's so
can
funny to
brand
say
a
that.
site and get so much business.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the drive-by traffic,
Yeah.
good signage.
Silt fence.
And yes, you
Silk
got a big
fence.
silt fence on
his
my
property. It says Sycon
It's
on
like
every
freaking
project.
900 freaking yards of branding.
Up here,
Exactly. I love that. We used to do that at Miyamoto International. It was an earthquake engineering firm, structural engineers. We had the biggest signs. We'd wrap every building, all four sides, gigantic Miyamoto banner, bigger than the GCs, bigger than the architects. Yeah, they'd complain. Sometimes we'd violate the sign ordinance. Okay, we'll get over there eventually and take it down.
Are we ever doing anything if we're not pushing the envelope, though?
Yes. I love it. So tell us, let's go back a little bit.
Sorry.
Obviously, your uncle was Canadian, you said. French-Canadian.
I was, no, whoa.
Okay, sorry. Well, you said Newfoundland.
So Vikings, I was actually
Okay.
born and raised in Toronto.
Okay.
I immigrated here with my mother in 2001.
Okay.
All my family.
That's like a suburb of Detroit. though. I'm sorry, but I mean,
it's okay. Toronto, I'm not a city guy. I moved here in 01, but all my family's still back in Canada. Other than on my mother's side, my father is a British sailor, and my entire family on his side was Royal Navy, Royal Marines, and he still abides and lives in Canada, and I see him every once in a while. But that's kind of my history there. And
So how did you get into this business?
fair enough.
Did you go to school here or what?
I did. I graduated from Rogers here in 2009, last graduating class of the Mounties. This industry kind of picked me. I did various things, 18 years old, just like everybody should be doing. If you're not, I was jumping around industries trying to figure out, number one, what I was good at, that I could make a craft out of. And honestly, boys, I never thought I was going to be entrepreneurial. I had this different bone about me. There's no doubt about it, but I really think I was going to be maybe worthy enough in my own mindset to make it there. Not really. So I never really sought out that. But, you know, if I could go to work for a guy and he's going to take care of me for the next 25, 30 years, I'm going to do the best job I can for him.
Sure.
So bounced around.
You were a hard worker, though.
I was a little lazy. I'll be straight up and honest with you. I was trying to find out an industry.
People can
I never
change.
got fired from anywhere I've ever worked.
Good job.
It's
not too lazy.
I was 17. I was breaking horses.
claim
I worked
that.
at FedEx from 3:30 in the morning to
Breaking
7.
horses, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Your daughter does that.
She does some. Yeah.
I did a lot of horse work. It paid a lot of bills back then. But FedEx from 3:30 in the morning to 7, and then Lowe's or another part-time gig retail from 8 to 5, 10 to 7. Then I would go break race horses in the evening until dark. I did that
All
for a
around here in
long time.
Northwest Arkansas?
Right there in Pea Ridge, yes, sir.
Really?
Yep. And so I moved into that in breaking horses. A really good friend of mine, Curtis Wilchin, called me up. He's like, "Hey, the water department's got an opening. You want on?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
For what?
I was 19. This is City of Pea Ridge Water.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And in my world, in the utilities, you either have the municipality side or you have the contractor side. Contractors install, municipalities service and keep distribution for customers, correct? So I got to learn a ton at Pea Ridge in a year. Then I moved on to Bentonville. I thought that was going to be a little
Moving
bit.
on up.
I thought really that's what I thought. I was there about 7 months and figured real quick that was not the position I wanted to be in. And then I jumped over to the contractor side. Worked for a couple of contractors, ran Benton County's contract for moving all the Public Safety Commission meters, gas meters. We have them here on the road, and we had to move them to the house. We're moving 8 to 10, and I was stressing really, really hard. And I was actually working for my best man in my wedding at that time, and I looked at him and I said, hey, man, we've got to make some adjustments here. I'm doing a lot of stress, and 8 to 10 people addresses a day were getting my card with my phone number, my cell phone. That's 40 to 50 people a week that we were just showing up, tearing their yard up, throwing a gas meter on their house. They weren't all pleasurable people, as you could only imagine. So I jumped off and shook hands with a guy that I probably shouldn't have. Started a company called Apex for about 3 months.
What they do?
We were going to do utilities and kind of the same thing I was doing. And sold my house, put my equity in it, and I lost it all. Never got a paycheck out of that deal. And from there, I had a bunch of work. So I went and rented machines. I still rent from the same guy that I went and shook hands with. He helped me so big time from the get-go. He basically, instead of giving me a month's worth of rental, he shaved it down to a week. I don't think I'd be sitting here with the name on my chest if he didn't. And I still rent from him today. He's a big district manager. Anyways, just started going. And
so he was able to, instead of making you pay for an entire month of lease, just do it by week, which...
No, I mean, basically I had the machines for 6 weeks and he charged me for a week.
Oh.
He primed your pump for
absolutely, he did.
Yeah.
He saw something in me, and I told him, I've been a loyal dog in business. Has it screwed me? Absolutely, it has.
Yeah.
But I've always been the loyal dog to whoever. Hey, I'm not probably the best horse to bet on right now in this race, but where I'm going, I will take care of you. And that's always been my message. I've never... Always paid the guys on Friday, sitting here to this day, 9 years, and I've paid every single invoice, whether I should or shouldn't have, in those 9 years, and I'm super proud to say that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of folks that can't say that, but I've learned this business trial by fire. Education is expensive. Experience is absolutely priceless, and I've gained a lot of experience within those short 9 years. I'm 32. I started when I was 23. So fixing to be on that decade mark, and I have the best team building over that last 5 years. Really, truly developed a killer team.
So what's your secret there?
It's not about what you say. It's not about what you do. It's how you make people feel. That's my number one key there. Everybody...
Eric understands that. He makes people feel good.
Hell yeah, man.
That's why we all love him so much.
I love you
personally loved.
Thank you, man.
I get to be in the circle there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's a leadership principle that you have to walk with, and I give the example to my leadership team because let's talk about my project manager briefly. He was my second ever crew. The first employee I ever have sits in my estimation team. I've always dealt with these humans differently because they all react differently. They speak love and show love differently. Well, that's no different than 50 hours a week here. And if I want them buying into my system, I have to tell them how and why we're doing what we're doing, right? So Dalton comes on, and I'm like, hey, man, I need you to run a truck. And I need you to run people hard. And he, by God, did. Every week I'd have somebody in my office going, man, he's just so hard to deal with. He won't ever let me do anything. And then I would 4 to 5 test papers a month going, well, that line finished out. Well, that came under time. Wow, by God, he blew through that one. What was I supposed to say? Well, I'm sorry your feelers are hurt. Now, don't get me wrong. There was never any lines crossed. And if there was, I immediately addressed it, and we focused on being a better leader. But when I elevated him into that managerial project manager, so in my world, that basically covers all of 5 crews that we have. So he's the man.
So he's basically like the COO in a way, the head of operations, line unit, what you do for a living, what you get paid for,
absolutely.
The work itself.
He is 100% been invested in. The first 6 months where I was going with this was a big shift for him because this dude was a bulldog, ran people and machines all day, But now I need him calling clients and dealing with engineers and suppliers, and you
Can't
know,
talk to them the same.
honey goes a lot further than vinegar in those conversations. You know what I mean? So we had to posture and we had to plan. So number one, I got to give him a huge shout out. I wouldn't be anywhere without him. He's going to be 5 years next month, and he's been my project manager the last almost 3 years, and he's made that transition based on that. Hey, I told them what to do. Well, why didn't it get done? Well, because they didn't hear you after the second thing you spoke to them in that tone. They were feeling closed off. So that's a little quick thing there.
People always love that expression. You can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar.
That's right.
My response to that always was, who says I'm trying to catch flies?
Hell yeah.
Okay? I'm not trying to catch any flies. But no, people do love to say that. But yes, you're right. It makes total sense. You just can't bark at people all day. And you got to treat people decently to get them to want to do a good job.
I'm a very
No
honest
doubt.
guy with all the guys from pipe fitters to Dalton to Sarah. I mean, huge account to my wife. I wouldn't be anywhere without her. We're 10 years married this year, and she has been the other admin half of this for the last 5, delving off big and building procedures and systems. And inside accounting is huge. If you guys, I'm telling you, if I could rewind 5 years, I would dive off way, way, way harder and find the right person and set up inside accounting procedures a lot differently.
It's critical. A lot of small businesses don't do a good job with it.
I promise you, we didn't. We know how to not do it.
Yeah.
And we're
I think
learning.
it's very typical, though. I mean, at least you've learned, and you're trying to fix it. I mean, not everybody does.
Well, I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't recognize, like whenever I started this company, first thing I did, first person I hired, first thing I enacted was an accountant that could establish the books.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just about knowing every transaction's been recorded so you can actually read your business when you need to start reading it, right? Because I was investing in it for a while.
Gauges on the business.
Yeah, you got to have gauges. You just got to know where everything's going. I mean, it affects everything.
100%. No, it does. Inside accounting, we had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
And
it becomes so freaking messy, too. So fast.
oh my God.
And then it just takes up so much time. It's unbelievable. It's kind of like, I would say, accounting, and then the next thing would be your customer relationship management system, your database of customers and clients.
See, it's not huge for me. It is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's all right here. Now we're working on, we have a CRM system getting built for salesmen, et cetera, as we speak, actually. But you're right. It is huge. The follow-ups, like you were mentioning, Mark, not just on the monetary side, but on the front of the house. You have got to be following up. Whether you were the first one, the third one to get your number in, it doesn't matter. Follow up, have the conversation, figure out where it was. But no, I agree. So in my world, dirt, utilities, we don't really have a whole lot of, I guess, service industry, not a whole lot of service calls. You know, you're not doing 30 invoices a week. You're doing 4 to 5 projects a month. So as long as you're keeping those happy, but you definitely need it in the front of the house in my specific industry world. You know what I mean? Got to have that person. And normally it's the guy wearing the operations manager hat in my world still going up to the front of the house and going, hey, where can I help and delve in and talk with who, get with Mark, get with Eric, whatever we need to do, you know, and fill in the holes. But no, I agree. Customer relations and building that credibility.
Yeah, and just knowing how to get a hold of your contacts. What jobs have they done? Being able to read how many times this one person has delivered X amount of jobs.
Yeah, and then think about how if you could integrate all that with your accounting, you know how fast they pay. So then when you do your cash flow projections, you know these guys pay in 62 days. 62 days out in the spreadsheet, I'm going to show that $12,000 coming back. Well, whatever the number is.
And I would say from our conversations, one of the things that a good CRM would do is it helps you understand how long the sales cycle is for certain types of jobs. And then your objective is how do you close that sales cycle down? Because the more that you can close deals and eliminate that time waste.
Listen to this guy. Yeah.
100%.
I mean, you're able to read that and you can see the charts and you start to understand where your best target audience is within this bigger market, and then you can focus and streamline on that, and then you can then therefore invest in marketing in that.
And we can email them.
And you can email them. You can send them freaking birthday cards. You can do all kinds of stuff once you identify that.
It's little things.
Yeah, it is. But the likening to that, to having a good accounting system, is it's all good data in.
It's all about the data.
And if you don't do it daily, like accounting, you're going to always be fighting for a CRM that's worth a shit.
Yep.
But if you do it and I tell the folks, like I was telling one of our guys just yesterday, we're starting a new CRM process. There's been added to it. It's like, I don't need you to know what the hell this CRM is doing and how to learn all the bells and whistles and make yourself effective and automate your life. I need you to do two things. Number one, manually put everything that you come across in about a customer into that database. Number two, do that every day.
Yeah.
Do it every freaking stinking day. And so you might have a lot of contacts in QuickBooks or software.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's not in
you
the
got them right
CRM,
here in Outlook. You that's the easiest place. Guy calls me, save.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're competing with Outlook, which is why CRM's one reason why they have a problem.
Yep.
But you can harvest those names out of Outlook, though.
Yeah. No, you can. Yeah. And
There's
it's
ways
just a
to,
system. It's like it's the old Rolodex.
Right.
It's a digital Rolodex is all it is. But if you didn't have that Rolodex, you didn't know who to call. But this helps you measure things, right? And it takes time to get there. But I mean, you can't start on that soon enough.
We are just delving into it as we speak. I've had one estimator, and we kind of doubled down this year, and I hired a salesman this year to really. This year is so different, guys. Just in the market in general, a lot of folks are shelving deals until
because of interest rates.
You bet, of course, number one driver. I mean, I get it. I don't want to go spend 10-15% on a truck, and I get it. They don't want to do it on 40-80 million. So I get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not just that. I think, of course, the election has got everybody fearful, etc. But next year, I think there'll be plentiful, and we're preparing for that. Just like, the residual after 08, I graduated in 09, 11, 12, that started the real boom again after 08, and guys made great money until about 18, 19, and COVID hit. And that was a really good time in my industry for sure, because why? There was so much work.
Low interest rates and demand up.
Money was cheap. And,
right, sure.
Go get equipment. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so now it's a totally different picture. Everything is totally different.
But hey, at least we're in a place where the underlying demand is high due to growth.
100%.
People come into the area. We're going to be 1 million people in the 10 years or less.
I bet less.
I mean, crazy.
And so you've got that working for you.
And
you do have to follow to a certain extent, like what types of projects are most likely to be done.
Yep.
One thing, Mark, I think it'd be, just because I know with Sy, I talked with him quite a bit in this kind of change of era this year. What Sy's done is he's really leaned in on something that's really important.
What's that?
Marketing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
A lot of folks, like if things start changing and shifting, they start tucking back.
Yeah, they pull back.
And they stop investing.
Wrong way to go.
The opposite thing you got to do. If things are not
that's reassuring to hear.
Well, it is.
But
marketing sales.
It takes a little while for that to take effect, and a lot of small business owners are not willing to fund that long enough till the results come back.
Yep.
But the selling is easy when you do the marketing. That's the bottom line. Without the marketing, then it's like, hey, what you got coming up?
Yeah.
This is Mark Zwag over here. I'm with Sycon. You familiar with us? Okay. Well,
it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's already proven your statement, because literally as today we were dealing with some storm cleanup through YouTube. We've got this. I started this YouTube channel. We've got 17,000 subscribers organically in a year.
Oh my God, that's fantastic!
9.5 million views.
They love what you're doing. Man.
Yes, so
they love it.
And so we've
it's
just
like those power washing videos. I'm just transfixed. I love this.
Well,
I'm trying to get
now
my wife to watch them. No, because when she and I have the power washer, we were working this weekend. It's like I'm doing it, and she's standing there watching me. The second, okay, you want to take your time, That she's doing it. She goes, I just like watching.
Yeah, like watching the dirt.
It's so gratifying.
It is.
Hey, man, and that makes it's again reassuring to hear, but it's just been a bunch of gobbledygook. It's just been a bunch of, hey, this is glitz and glam, and I've gone in a little bit on the podcast, Blue Collar Podcast, trying to delve in, and that's kind of where that created, and that's how I become to sit here and talk. But I've already got this YouTube thing going for me.
It's amazing.
And just so happened to end up working with Eric at his place, and through conversations and him going, no, you cannot pull back range right now.
Hell
You
no.
need to freaking... And I'm like, man, all this... It's been different for a dirt pop guy, because if you go look, pay-per-click for us, I probably shouldn't put this out there, is absolutely nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't market in our world, but what if you did?
Right. That's the thing. What if you did when other people are not?
I'm 32. I've
Yeah.
really... Now, don't
got
get me
a
wrong.
long way to go.
I've got a long way to go, and I've
Yeah.
learned a lot, but I have so much more to learn. And it's from conversations sitting here looking just like this, learning and sponging information and moving forward with that information and retaining that information. I wish my whole team would retain as much information as I did, as quickly as I did.
Yeah.
But
Trying experimentation.
Well, that's the difference between you and a Mark. What are you doing over there, man?
I got one of those things. That's
he's
on-
got a hang
Oh,
down.
you got a little
Yeah,
hang.
it's hurting me. Sorry.
Okay, no, I'm
I'm listening.
I mean,
No.
Jeez, I'm
Call
listening.
him out, buddy.
I'm sorry, man.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. It's
So-
just the first time I podcast.
Every time I reach
Don't
in
go
my
where Mark's
pocket.
doing something.
Every time I reach in my pocket, it like gets that thing.
Oh, I
Damn
got
it.
you.
He
No, I
knows-
got you. You should cut that off. I was just
Okay.
impressed that you had a fingernail clipper with you, bro.
Listen, I've got dental floss too.
No, in your pocket?
I carry it with me at all times. That's why I don't have receding gums. You see that?
Is that dental floss?
That's dental floss right there.
Look at that,
Oh, my.
bro.
Yeah.
That's a lot to carry around in a pocket.
That is.
It's not that bad. I don't wear those tight designer jeans
Get
like you wear.
in.
Okay.
Get in.
I'm not wearing tight designer jeans, bro. It's not
Are they like bedazzled in the pockets?
no, man.
Okay, turn around. That's pretty tight.
tight, dude.
Dude, is
They're
your
pretty
wife?
tight.
Is your wife buying those?
Hell no. No, I'm not tight.
Getting just
crazy, man.
She likes those tight.
I'm anti-skinny jean
Me and you
person, man.
both. I am
Like my marketing industry is riddled with skinny jeans, and
Well,
I'm out.
Have you guys noticed, like all these young guys now, they've got suits on, and they all look like they're too small.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you should be wearing like a size,
I don't
44,
I don't
and you got a
understand why
38.
We got 8 inches above your ankle.
They got short pants
I
that are
don't
tight,
get it.
and then they have no socks.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
I don't want to see your ankle.
Change, guys. It's
no
changed.
socks with
Well,
suits.
Why can't we change things that matter? That's what we're trying to do.
You're way too substantive, okay? We're beyond that. We're well beyond that.
It's just
We're
very different. It's
absolutely love
attention grabbing.
A significant endeavor versus trivial pursuits is what.
Everybody's just trying to. It's just this constant climb of trying to get the most attention.
Yeah,
Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's a sick culture.
It is a
bit.
sick
I mean,
culture.
let's
We
be
won't
honest.
sit our phones down and sit and have dinner anymore.
Oh no,
terrible.
that's out.
You
That's
know,
out.
It's-
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
You got kids?
Oh, absolutely. That's
they-
the whole purpose.
How old are they?
I've got a beautiful 5-year-old little girl, and my little boy's 7. And I just recently found out we've got another one on the way coming Christmas.
Good for you,
Yeah,
man.
congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
Well, they're not fearing on their phones yet. Wait till they're teenagers.
well, they're going.
They definitely
Oh,
have.
man, it's a good-looking family.
Thank you, sir. This is the whole reason I.
Yeah.
What was that? You in a suit?
That was Easter morning, sir. Yeah.
Look at you. You can travel him up.
Oh, buddy, I clean up well. I come from T-Town, son. You know how I
Pretty good. He's in good shape. He's not all burnt out yet.
No,
Yeah.
no. Oh,
Another 30 years in the sun, maybe a little bit different. But Being as he's a redhead, that's hard on him.
You ever seen that tan like that?
No.
Ever?
It's beautiful.
I'm a day walker, you know. I ain't a ginger, you know.
It's a day walk.
Hey, let's go back to that time period when you did that first business and you've refinanced your house,
Sold it.
sold your
first
house,
ever house.
got your cash,
Yep.
and you invested in the business.
Yeah, let's hear about that one.
Yeah, because I think people could they can find comfort in the fact that you're successful now.
Yes, good. Thank you.
I was desperate. I was desperate for change. I was desperate to do something different. And you know, it's so funny. Just let you guys know. So that transpired from a conversation at Applebee's.
No, that was a bad start right there.
It was terrible.
I mean, even Chili's would be better. Okay.
I do like the sampler.
I
Anyway,
like the Chili's ribs.
I used
to eat the Applebee's riblets, but they're just not that good.
They're not anymore. The 4 cheese mac and cheese, honey pepper
Where
chicken.
the hell have you guys just gone to?
We're
to go to friggin' Applebee's and Chili's.
We're hungry.
Right.
It took them 25 minutes to make a taco
about
before I got in here.
substance,
So
These guys always eat at 11 a.m. too.
I eat
The
whatever
contractor
I can eat.
world, yeah.
I mean,
11 a.m. and it's a
That's
true
lunch. It's 5,000 calories, okay?
2 tacos and some queso rice. Anyway, so essentially, my wife and I, we were, like I said, sold my house.
So you're married at the time.
We are married, been married 10 years, so this would have been 15. We got married in 14. We started this in 15. Lived in a camper on my in-laws' land. And I promise you, I never feel another moment as pressurized as the moment. This was just after, I'll go into brief a little bit more, but just after me and him split. I started Sycon on that Monday, and we had some infertility struggles for three years trying to have Colt, and she looks at me on Wednesday and tells me she's pregnant.
Wow.
In that same week, I just lost everything that I've ever had given to me in my entire life. I bought a house. I was 20 years old, bought it at a 2.8 interest rate, $79,500 right in the middle of Pea Ridge, and that first little real estate spike, and it was worth $100K. By God, I was getting out. It's worth 200 and something now, but anyway, it was cool. But I had just recently sold it. I'm not driving a truck worth of crap because I didn't want the payment, and now I've got this immense pressure of, oh my God, if this little baby boy gets here in 9 months, what am I going to do? I'm living in a freaking camper on my in-laws' land. What a piece of crap. You know what I mean? That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to go too delving off into that scenario, but essentially it was 2 guys. He bought the machine. He bought the trailer. I bought the truck. And I told him I would bury him in work because I've got a pretty decent network, right, back then even. And I did. But he just wanted to use the machine to work with his uncle and make cash, just enough to make it through the week, and he didn't really want to make this a business. So I kept running, and I never saw a paycheck for like 11 weeks. Didn't see the bank account. Things were going south really quickly, and
so the money you sold your house for, you invested in a truck? Or?
Was it a dump truck or
no,
what?
that was just a dually, and I took I basically
So you could haul the equipment?
I bought a camper with that $10,000
That you were living in?
I lived in, right?
Okay.
And then another $10K basically was living expenses for me to live. That's what we lived off of for the next 11 weeks.
Yeah,
because I never
sure.
had a paycheck.
Gotcha.
And so
you were just kind of investing in your own time,
absolutely,
without any pay,
exactly,
to go about, sell jobs. Hopefully the jobs would come back and pay you back.
They did, but I never saw anything.
Never saw it. Yeah.
And so I just cut the cord. I'm not the type of guy. I used to have a really bad temper.
Sure.
It is what it is. I could have made a big scene, could have got a cord, all this other crap. I just took the machine and trailer out there and left the key on his front door and I drove away. And I went home. Of course, failure is my worst fear in life.
Sure.
It's probably why I've driven to where I'm at. And
we hate failure.
you
here.
can't have failure.
We're not all
Get
about
on that, Mark. I know you want to get on it.
Well, it's
just
just
take
that-
an intermission. Is yap on it,
Get
bro.
on that.
Get it.
No,
Go
it's just
get it.
you read this stuff online. It's all like failure's great. Embrace failure. Fail a lot. Fail constantly. Okay. Like sooner or later, the idea is to not fail. Let's learn from everybody else's mistakes.
That's funny.
Failure's costly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. It's
experience.
It's humiliating. It's shameful.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Yes, if it happens, we must learn from it and move on quickly.
Absolutely.
We all agree to that, right?
Agreed. And
But it is to be avoided. So I agree with you.
I try.
I hate failure. I don't want to fail.
Well,
I've
I've thought about this.
paranoid as can be.
I have made a million mistakes, but I haven't failed, right? Because I think failure is quitting after you make mistakes. You make mistakes, shit doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's a mistake. It's not a failure.
Yeah, it's not a failure. So mistake often, mistake forward.
Yeah, I like that. That means you're experimenting. You're trying stuff. It doesn't all work out.
All a winner is a loser that tried again.
Right, exactly. You just
And-
don't give up.
The big thing I talk about with my guys, though, in our world, I say this all the time, it's 50-1. Nobody cares. No one cares. Work harder, dude, on the 50 good jobs that you did. That's cool. You can brag about it all you want. You know the one they're going to talk about? It's the one that you didn't do worth of crap. You didn't plan. You didn't operate. Everybody in town will know about it quicker than you can blink. It's still a small town around here. But the 50-1 ratio. So do 100 jobs. So when that one does hit, we're going to be all right, and the talk ain't going to be too loud, you know. But it's not about mistakes you make. It's how you handle them. And I've earned more customers off of mistakes
true.
I've made than I have ever, not one time, just doing the job
Gives you a
perfect.
chance to correct it.
If I do a perfect job, 95% of the time they're going to price shop me the next time I freaking
right.
send a number in. But if I did something wrong, this is Sawgrass Steakhouse right here. I had to come in behind a contractor twice. Mm-hmm. And then I rented a laser. This stung. I rented a laser. The calibration was off. This is when I was still learning. And actually, the head engineer came and sat down, drove out to there, and he said, "Sy, I got to tell you, you've got to redo this. I've worked the numbers 85 ways." He said, "I don't get it, though. You pass a camera. I've never seen 6-inch sewer line at a 0.16, which would be 0.52 for 6-inch is legal flat. Anyways, going off in the weeds there. But I've never seen it pass a camera, which they run a little buggy in the pipe, and it can't hold less than an inch of water over a 3-foot span, or you got to dig it up. It's a belly, etc. So 0.16 on 6
Not
inch.
enough drop in it. Yeah.
So is 0.2 over 100 feet. So you're talking minimalistic inches here. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is he said, "You did a great job, but I need you to fix it." Mm-hmm. They had concrete. The rebar was pouring the parking lot back with my manhole done. Like, it was sitting there. And I had to shut everything down and look at the contractor and go, "Hey, look, I know you paid me to fix it. It's fixed, but it's not on paper. And I can't make the inverts work and the manholes. The engineer can't. We've got to redo it." And with walk-ons open, this was 2 weeks as COVID hit. So we knocked walk-ons out of power a couple of times. We were 19 foot deep. We had active walk-ons just had opened up. And their 3-phase was ran right over the sewer main, 7 feet right over our top of our box. It was extremely difficult. We did it in 7 days. We fixed it. Had some help of a friend who loaned me a trench box and a machine, thank God, so I didn't have to rent them and eat all of that expense. But me and the guys did it in 7 days while keeping the other restaurant open. And I've earned some business off of that, obviously.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it showed the city, showed the engineer, that same engineer.
That you don't freaking fail.
Yeah.
It's not. We're just problem solvers, guys.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
You have a problem with a piece of land and you want it to look like that. Well, I'm the guy to fix that.
Yeah.
And I can handle everything under that umbrella you want me to. You may have certain people you trust in specific to pave or to blue top or whatever it may be. Okay. Go ahead and deal with those guys, but let me handle everything else for you. It's my world. Let me speak to you directly. Let me communicate. And as you can attest to, we do. It's a little different. And you haven't. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
In Eric's sense, I've had Dalton. I referenced him earlier. He's had 8 projects going on. I didn't hand Eric as a owner negotiated client off to Dalton to make his world a little bit mess, because I've been mainly handling it. So I've kind of handled the project manager role of it as well. So it's just different. And when you know your team, and like handing Dalton over to you, I knew how heavy of a communicator you were going to require and expect out of, us. So why handle? That's just setting him up to fail on my side, and you're going to cause resentment with me, and then I'm not even going to know what happened, and 2 weeks later you're going to call me and go, hey, get your crap off the place.
Yeah.
So you got to see all that stuff kind of coming. And so
So you were at a point, though, in your story where, no, it's fine, but where you were talking about, I don't fail. You were talking about
failure.
Hate failure. You just dropped your keys off. You just dropped your keys off. You're sitting there and found out your wife's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that week was a dark week, right?
Unbelievable. From there, I rented machines like I referenced earlier, and every builder, I would sit there on rain days and just hammer every builder I could find on Google. Any source I could backfeed and get me in front of somebody, I will dig. I buried a lot of horses, sir, to pay for a lot of fuel to keep this company running. Hell, I could be out there at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It's dead. I'll be out there. I got a machine on trailer. Where are we going? It hurt. As I was raising a young family, it definitely, those long nights, I was doing this, mainly by myself in the first year for sure. And then Dylan came on to help. And Sycon, I signed into a deal that with my folks, and they kind of co-signed for my first set of machines, and they were paid back plentiful for that. And they helped me get my start. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I kind of just sat there and said, hey, I've got all this work, but I'm 23 years old. Nobody's going to give me $150,000 worth of equipment. So, but from there, we've moved to here.
Sweet.
But yeah, failure is being a dad, being a husband, being a leader, just in general. There is no failure. Solutions. It's our job to provide solutions, find the solutions, ask the what ifs, ask outside of the box.
How many guys, though, in a situation like that would just storm off the job? Well, dang it, I did what I was supposed to do.
You're not.
And I'm out of here,
Yep.
And they ruin their reputations doing stuff like that.
Yep.
But it happens all the time.
Bad job.
And around here, what's so distressing is that demand is so high that those same guys may end up getting hired by the same GC 3 years later.
Yes, sir. I've
done it myself.
I'm in a lawsuit with
I've done it
with a
myself.
GC, and they're still sending us bid invites every day. It's crazy.
Yeah. I've done it myself, because you can't find anybody else, and then you tolerate that kind of behavior.
And now
which should be
it's flipping over a little bit.
To death.
There's something about our show, our listeners or entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs thinking about it. I think that there's to your point, Mark, we were just talking about, there's something about being an entrepreneur where you take on full accountability for whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is funny. I look back and I have always, since day one, to even your story, I am 100% responsible for the success of whatever project, communication, whatever it might be. I don't even really think about the business broadly like I'm responsible for it. I think about every single deal.
Yep.
That it's ultimately the buck's going to stop here, and I admit it. And if it does not go well, I still admit it. I call and say, Sy, I'm sorry, man. We screwed up, but here's what I'm going to do about it.
Here's my solutions. I got path 1, path 2, path 3.
Right.
This is the most cost effective, but it's going to cost you 3 weeks of time. This right here is the time saver, but it's going to cost you
what
more.
I'm also going to
lay
do?
Those out, give me a decision, and attack.
And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat every bit of that shit, too.
Yep.
I'm not going to charge you. I'm actually going to pay you. Just don't
do more.
Just do more, go above and beyond, and just freaking...
And that's when you win them over for life.
Absolutely.
Under promise, over deliver.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think part of it is some people shy away from that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't bother us to deal with a problem. like that.
My point was, I think
But that's people shy away. They're afraid. They're just fearful.
But there
So they don't have that discussion.
I think that's what makes it hard for people to. If
You just
you
gotta
got
do it.
entrepreneurs that go out and start their own business and they don't do well and it doesn't work out and they go back into the labor force, right? And you got
Right.
people that just don't ever go there because they start realizing as they dig into, oh shit, but if this had all this risk,
Right.
and the risk is associated with accountability to it, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, like,
And uncomfortableness.
totally.
Yeah.
You
I-
live in
I
a
don't-
state of uncomfortableness all the time.
I don't know that there's that many people on the planet that have that ability to take on that accountability and say it's my fault.
And to my point to this, your point, my deal, straight up, I tell my guys all the time, I'll never get mad at you for something you don't know. Mm-hmm. Because guess why? That's my job.
Yeah.
I'm the ultimate trainer here. And if you walked into a situation and I didn't share that information or I didn't give you the everything optimally that you needed to handle that situation, I failed you as a leader. But now, if we've discussed said
Right.
scenario,
20 times.
no, one time, and you didn't make a note or
Yeah.
give me a solution leaning that way. I'm not asking for the full solution, one step. But don't just go, here, boss. Here,
Yeah.
boss.
Right.
I'm over that, guys.
Yeah.
I'm paying you here, too.
Post office, 5 o'clock.
And it's
4:59, got to go.
And it's not like I'm not.
Disconnect.
Oh.
Total
So
disconnection.
speaking of 4:59, I got to go. Like, we're out of time, I think.
I know we could sit here and talk to Sy all day.
I know.
Well, that's a good thing, I think.
I do want you to say. Can he say something about his podcast that he has going on?
Yeah, please.
What's it called?
Blue Collar Business Podcast.
I like that.
It's literally everything. If you guys just heard, to have the time of Mark and Eric to weigh in on some of my issues is so enlightening. But we go a lot further in depth on the blue collar specific problems that, just to Mark's point earlier, is not said aloud, and there is such a closet about it, and nobody wants to talk about it, nobody wants to deal with it, nobody wants to put it out there so somebody to deal with it. But I'm learning so much through this podcast venture. I get to sit here and have this conversation, and the other conversations I'm having over there are mainly streamed for gentlemen like myself. I don't care if you're HVAC, you're an iron worker, you're framer, don't care. If you're in the trades, subcontractor, we talk contractual. We go off into the admin side of things that a lot of these guys are struggling with, the inside accounting. So we're 11 episodes in. You can find that on any streaming platform right now, but you can find the first 9 or 10 episodes on Sycon's YouTube page.
And again, what is the name of the podcast?
Blue Collar Business Podcast.
I think Mark would be an excellent guest.
That'd be
would
fun.
love to have
I'd
him on,
love
sir.
to be on there.
Oh,
I've been a blue
right.
collar worker.
You're welcome, bro.
Let's go.
Hey, just
that don't count as
commit.
guest discovery, though.
But let's so that's great. I appreciate that. Now, what about Sycon? How can people find you on Sycon?
Sycon, actually, to our point about marketing, I've doubled down. And we have a big presence on Facebook, small presence on Instagram, coming heavy, but our main presence right now is YouTube. Over the last year and a half, 17,000 subs. We have a weekly video at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Time is fixing to adjust just a little bit. But we do have a weekly drop every single week. Lots of shorts. We are on TikTok and the smaller socials as well. But
how was it? SY-CON?
It is.
And that's your website.
That is.
SY-CON.
Website is syconexe.com. Working on EXE, the first letters of excavation.
Okay.
Syconexe.com, and we do have a merch shop on there if you have any type of blue collar desirable shirts. So,
All right.
Hey,
I've
dude.
been wanting to stock up on wife beaters. Those considered blue collar.
you see, it's just perfect to my point to end with. The stigma we have about us, eh?
I honestly, I don't wear wife beaters, really.
Don't either, sir.
But I'm too
You should
cold.
wear one next week on our next episode.
That sounds
with your
horrible. Absolutely horrible.
You think he'll look like Jamie Hunt?
Did he go around in wife beaters?
Oh, yeah. Well, first time I ever met Jamie Hunt.
I didn't hear that.
Swear to God.
My wife knew him, but
The only time I ever met Jamie Hunt, my stepdad actually worked for Brian Hunt, one of his sons, for
I
the
know
last
Brian.
23 years.
Car business? Or
Yeah,
what?
the dealers. And he actually ran the Buy Here, Pay Here Recon Center for him with Nita. Anyways, long story short, now I completely blank where I was
J.B.
going.
Hunt.
J.B. Hunt. Met him at the
beaters.
dealership, the first Everest dealership right here. That Everett dealership was best. It was the
Right.
first dealership all Moberly. And I rounded the corner. I was still young. I was probably 11 or 12. We had just been here about a year or two. There was this man standing there, very nice pressed jeans, very nice boots, wife beater, and cowboy hat. It was 110 degrees outside. And you know what the funniest thing ever was? This is the only communication I ever had with Mr. Hunt. And I said, good morning. And he said, I'm getting me a Coke. And I said, yes, sir. I said, I was going to get me one, too. He said, yeah, they're free up here. My son owns the joint. And that's the only thing I've ever heard out of J.B. Hunt. I've met Miss John L. several
funny.
times.
Yes.
She's very classy.
Yes. I've actually worked on all her projects.
I love JB, man. The more I
Yeah.
like he, I mean, he was
there's
straight. He was
amazing
legit,
stories
He was legit.
about how that guy could sell. He was unbelievable.
He was
a
the, he
seller.
was the ultimate blue collar man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
He was. I mean, starting
He had
from
like a 7th, 8th grade
pipe
education.
holes out of South Arkansas.
Yeah.
And going, hey, I can do this again. Hey, I can do this again. Now, back then, you could make money in the trucking world, and we can go off on that whole industry right now. Poor fellers.
We're unfortunately we're out of time, so we're going to have to move on. But we
a pleasure.
appreciate your being here with us, Sy.
Seriously,
It's
thank
been
you
fun.
guys
Great.
so much. Look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, get
sometime.
ready for all the publicity from our show, man. It's gonna be freaking.
It's
nuts.
gonna be
gonna blow your
amazing.
mind. It's gonna triple your business. In
Let's
value.
go.
And we are still looking for a sponsor here at Big Talk About SmallBusiness.com.
That is true. Shameless plug for ad money.
If you have a product or service that you want to sell to small business owners, you want to talk with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should have done one for a CRM. If you were a CRM, Sy would have known about it and he could have subscribed to it.
Exactly. Well,
Missed that opportunity.
in any case, we'll see you next week. And until then, this has been another episode of Big Talk About Small Business.
Sorry I written that, but
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.